Lesson 1.11 is the very last lesson of round 1 of Room to Breathe, and you have a lot to celebrate very soon. To end your first round of Room to Breathe, we are going to write an artist statement. And this is something that we do quite commonly in lots of our Room to Breathe projects, because what an artist statement does is it explains what you've made and why you've made it. And it allows you to make your thinking visible to yourself and your audience. Which can be really important, especially when you're doing work that is more representative and less obvious. To show you what I mean, I'm going to show you an example. This is some artwork made by an American artist named Nick Cave, and I went to see an exhibit of his work in Calgary a few years ago, and was just totally blown away by it. It was just really remarkable. These sculptures he calls them sound suits, and they do make sound. If you can see, they're kind of got lots of things attached to them, 3D things. So if the wind is blowing, they will make noise. If somebody actually wears them and moves around, it will make sounds. So they're really cool. But the piece that really drew my attention was not one of those sound suits. It was over in the corner, kind of on the wall, and this is what it was. So it's important to know that Nick Cave is Black, and he talks a little bit about how that played into this piece of artwork. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's a hand in the middle here, and then these towels are kind of draped over top of it. You can see that described here in the artist statement. The work is untitled. It was made in 2014, and it's mixed media, including this cast bronze arm and cloth hand towels. So that is what it's made out of, and you'll see that quite frequently when you see an artist statement like this on a wall in an art gallery or a museum. It will tell you when it was made, what it's called, and how and what it was made of. And then it will kind of unpack what you're seeing for you. So here's what it says. Casting his own arm in bronze, Cave assembles an object that speaks to the position of servitude that many African Americans have been forced to endure throughout history. The stack of neatly pressed white towels, similar to those found in fancy restroom, forms a pattern that echoes the rings of a tree. The stack suggests the crushing number of years that Black people, including the artist's grandmother, have devoted to being in service to white people. Without having read that artist statement, I don't think I would have gotten that from this piece of artwork. I would have been, oh, that's cool. That's really neat looking. Like, that pattern is really neat. I don't think I would have guessed the rings of the tree. I'm not sure if I would have seen that. And that it was about kind of like all those years adding up. I don't know that I would have understood the suggestion of it being about service, right? I don't know if I would have gotten that. So this artist statement really helps me understand this piece of artwork in a way that I wouldn't have if I didn't read it. As we get started in writing artist statements, I have created an artist statement planner for you. And this planning sheet, I hope, kind of breaks down the process of writing one in a way that's going to make sense to you. So I've gone through each of the parts of the artist statement, like here with the introduction, and listed a few questions that you could answer in your introduction. What is your project? What did you do? What was your goal? What is your purpose and who's your audience? And then below that, I've listed some sentence frames. These sentence frames you can totally steal. So you can borrow this sentence and then fill in the blanks, and you will have a complete sentence that makes sense. So if we look at these examples, it says, I created blank in response to blank, your inhale text. In our round 1 example, this might say something like, I created a piece of artwork in response to the rose that grew from concrete, or I created a short film inspired by the rose that grew from concrete. My goal was to create a blank to show my understanding of the text. The purpose of my project was to blank. I wanted to reach blank as my audience. So you can use these sentence frames to kind of work your way through it. Look at paragraph 1. So paragraph 1 is all about audience and purpose. And I want you to, in this paragraph, describe specific choices you made to target your audience and purpose. Here are some sentence frames that might help you with that. I made several specific choices to target my audience. One thing I did was blank. Another thing I did was blank. I felt this would help me connect with my purpose because blank. The purpose of my project is to blank. An intentional choice I made to target this purpose is blank. The other thing that you will see is a must-do, should-do, and aspire-to-do kind of scaffold. So the more detailed you get, the more choices you explain, the more complete and more thorough your work is going to be, which makes it more excellent, right? So the must-do kind of mandatory thing to do would be to explain one choice. The next step up would be to explain 2 choices, and then the aspire-to-do would be 3 or more. And then the planning sheet will kind of take you through all 5 paragraphs of this artist statement. And by the end, you will have an introduction. You will have body paragraph number 1, which will be about audience and purpose. Body paragraph number 2, which is about goals. Body paragraph 3, which is about connections, and then a conclusion. I've given you this formula because once you know the rules, then you can break them. And sometimes there's a lot of sort of criticism about these sort of formula type writing. It's not super fun, I don't think. But once you've done it, once you've kind of gotten good at it, then you can break those rules. Because if you look back at the example that Nick Cave wrote, this doesn't follow that format at all. And it's a lot shorter probably than what I've asked you to write. It has all that key information in it though. And once you kind of have been able to get mastery of that formula, then you can break those rules. So keep going. If you feel like you're ready to break the rules, if you've done this before and you know what you're doing, go ahead and break them. Just look at the mastery criteria for your mastery check at the end of lesson 1.11 before you do that, okay? After you've written your work, I really do want you to edit it. So a couple reminders here. Capital letters, proper nouns. Proper nouns have capital letters like Ms. Erin Quinn. That is a name. All of those parts of the name need capital letters. And Ms. Erin Quinn is from Wetaskiwin, Alberta, which is a place. That is a proper noun. Capitalize those words. Titles need capitals, like the poem, The Rose That Grew from Concrete. All of the words in that title are capitalized. And always capitalize the pronoun I. The reason why is because I stands in for your name, which is a proper noun. So if you could replace the word I with a name, it should be capitalized. End punctuation. You need an exclamation mark, a period, or a question mark at the ends of your sentences. Do you need a question mark? Yes, you do. So you can see 3 example sentences in that right here that show those 3 types of punctuation. We've got a period, a question mark, and an exclamation mark. I've noticed that sometimes you miss punctuation inadvertently. And one way that you can do that is to read your work out loud to someone or yourself to catch that missing punctuation. Where you will naturally pause in your voice is where you need some punctuation. Make sure that when you're doing your paragraphs, you're pressing twice at the bottom of your paragraph to start a new one. So you should have kind of chunks of text on your page. You can see some of my writing as an example of that if you're confused. And then finally, do you see red or blue squigglies under your word like these ones? That means there's a problem with it. So fix it. Right-click it. Did I mean squiggles? Yes, I did. Fix that, okay, before you hand it in. All right, so once you've edited your work, what do you do? All right, you've written your artist statement and you've attached it in Google Classroom. There is a document in there for you to write your artist statement in. Then you're going to attach any digital work that you completed during your exhale. So if you created a poem, if you wrote a poem in another document, please attach that. If you wrote, I don't know, if you created a visual in Canva, download the visual and attach that to your Google Classroom. If you did any physical work, so if you did, let's say, made a painting or a sculpture or something like that, be sure that you have that ready to share as well. And then you can turn it in Google Classroom, click Turn In, and sign up for a final conference for round 1. And that is the end of round 1. Congratulations! That was a lot of work and you did an awesome job. I know you did, even though I haven't seen it, because I have faith in you. And I can't wait to see your finished product.